You know that person who's in love with their friend. That's Lucas, who does everything for his horse. Despite facing a lot of criticism, he stuck with his horse and believed in it all by himself. Even his childhood friends didn't support his decision, but he faced all the obstacles and devoted himself with confidence. Now, see what happened to Lucas and his horse. A true story of great value and trust, where Lucas believes in his faithful companion named Tempestade. Even though his friends mocked him, he never gave up on his horse, who was already advanced in age, but whom Lucas saw as his hero. Lucas lived in a small village where the land was vast and the fields were lush. The son of a simple farmer, he had always been passionate about horses, especially Tempestade, an old and weary horse that was once the pride of the family. With his white coat and a scar marking his flank, Tempestade no longer had the vigor of his glory days, but he had been Lucas's faithful companion since childhood. News of the great horse racing competition reached the village, and all the young men became excited. The competition promised fame and a large sum of money to the winner. It was a chance to change their lives. Many participants came from wealthy families, and their horses were majestic, of noble lineage. However, Lucas decided to enter Tempestade. When the news spread throughout the village, laughter echoed. Lucas's friends mocked him. "How do you expect to win with that walking relic?" Pedro would say, mounted on his sleek black horse, which seemed to glide as it walked. "You should think twice, Lucas," advised Anna, his childhood friend, concerned. "Everyone's talking about it. Tempestade isn't what he used to be." After Anna gave the advice, Lucas's best friend, João, arrived. Lucas thought, "Won't even João support me in this decision?" When João arrived, he said, "Lucas, I'm here for you and your horse. You need to give up the competition. I care a lot about both of you, but Tempestade doesn't stand a chance of winning this race. The other horses are much younger and have much more stamina for this kind of race." Lucas looked at João and said, "My friend, I have decided that I will participate in the competition. I was waiting for your support. Since you guys aren't supporting me either, I'll go alone with Tempestade and show everyone that Tempestade can still bring me this victory. I have faith in him, and I know he can do it." Despite the criticism, Lucas didn't care. He knew that Tempestade still had something special. The connection between them ran deep, built over years of mutual trust. Every morning before the sun rose, Lucas and Tempestade trained together. Watching the horse's heavy breathing and tired steps, Lucas knew it wouldn't be easy. There were moments when even he doubted his choice, but when he looked into Tempestade's eyes, he saw an unwavering spark. The horse still had the heart of a champion, even if his body was no longer young. On the day of the competition, the atmosphere was tense. The arena was packed with spectators murmuring amongst themselves, all commenting on Lucas's old horse. He walked up to the starting line beside Tempestade, ignoring the disdainful looks. The signal was given, and the horses bolted forward. The faster competitors immediately took the lead, and Tempestade fell behind, just as everyone had predicted. The strong wind hit Lucas's face as he did his best to guide the horse, encouraging him with gentle words. "Come on, my friend. I know you can do it. We just need a little more." The track was long and challenging, with steep inclines and treacherous curves. One horse after another passed Tempestade, leaving a cloud of dust in their wake. Pedro, on his black horse, was in the lead. He looked back, saw Lucas far behind, and smiled with contempt. As the race progressed, the horses in front began to lose their breath. Rushed and overconfident, many of the competitors had underestimated the difficulty of the course. Tempestade, however, kept a steady pace. His steps were calculated, and Lucas realized that, despite not being in the lead, the horse was conserving energy. When the leaders started to tire, Tempestade's determination began to shine. Gradually, the horse started gaining ground, overtaking one competitor at a time. The crowd, which had previously only mocked, began to notice the slow but steady recovery of the old horse. Whispers of surprise spread through the arena. No way! Could the old horse still have strength? There was only one lap left. Pedro was still in the lead, but now he could see, out of the corner of his eye, Tempestade closing in. He urged his horse on, trying to increase the distance, but his mount was already exhausted. Lucas, his heart pounding in his chest, knew this was the decisive moment. He leaned forward, whispering once again into Tempestade's ear. "It's not possible. Does the old horse still have strength?" There was only one lap left. Pedro was still in the lead, but now he could see Tempestade approaching out of the corner of his eye. He urged his horse forward, trying to widen the gap, but his animal was already exhausted. Lucas, his heart pounding in his chest, knew that this was the decisive moment. He leaned forward, whispering once more into Tempestade's ear, "I've always believed in you. Now it's our time." And as if understanding every word, Tempestade surged forward. His body seemed to be reborn, fueled by Lucas's confidence. The crowd, now standing, watched the scene in shock. On the final turn, Tempestade drew level with Pedro's horse. Both competitors were side by side, but while Pedro pushed his horse beyond its limits, Tempestade ran as if he was born for that moment. With one last effort, the old horse overtook Pedro in the final meters, crossing the finish line in first place. A stunned silence fell over the arena. No one could believe what had just happened. Then, slowly, the silence was broken by applause that began to spread throughout the stands. The same people who had laughed at Lucas and his horse were now cheering for him. Pedro, defeated and ashamed, dismounted his horse, unable to look Lucas in the eye. But Lucas didn't care about the comments, the laughter, or the mockery of the past. He walked over to Tempestade and stroked his mane, a proud smile on his face. "I knew you could do it, old friend. I always knew." That day, Lucas and Tempestade proved that with trust and heart, even the improbable can happen. The race wasn't just about strength and speed, but about the deep bond between a humble young man and his horse. A lesson no one in the village would forget. Never underestimate the power of heart and true friendship. Often the real victory comes from those who believe the most, even when no one else does. Now, I want to know your opinion about this story. How do you see Lucas's attitude in believing in his horse? Leave a comment with your reflection, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Here, I always bring the best life reflections for you based on stories. Share these stories with others so they too can see life in a positive and loving way, so they can reflect and respect the opinions of others. That way, life will be better for all of us. God bless, and until the next story.